Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
And I want to let you know that now that I am free, I want to dedicate my life to sharing my message with as many people as possible.
Never let it go, never let it leave. Never. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly high.
Thank you for tuning in to Ivy Innovation Radio, sponsored by Ivy Innovation. Motivate, inspire, and empower. Today, we have a very special guest. Justin is a motivational speaker, author, business consultant, and trainer. He's certified and endorsed by the Ziglar Corporation, Zig Ziglar Legacy Certification, and he travels the U.S. and abroad as a keynote for corporations, conventions, municipalities, special organizations, churches, and nonprofits, delivering a core message of excellence and its profound effect on every aspect of life. Justin also teaches 3 proven workshops from Zig Ziglar's topics such as building the best you, building winning relationships, and goal setting and achievement. He's a published author. He's featured in he has a featured chapter in the book Ziglar Legacy. It's a motivational book released in December 2014, featuring several different influential authors from around the world, and was forwarded by Tom Ziglar, CEO of the Ziglar Corporation. Justin's first book, The Excellent Effect, is set for release in early 2015. Justin's life's mission is to impact, impart, and empower leaders to experience a life lived in excellence. Justin is also the founder of the Excellent Effect Network, an organization devoted to creating authentic relationships among professionals from all fields of endeavor, empowering them to experience a life lived in excellence. Justin is an entrepreneur with more than a decade of experience in business administration and development. He's the CEO of Paramount Beliefs Group, a DBA of J. Young Holdings Group, LLC, a company that specializes in insurance solutions for the senior and worksite markets. Justin is a successful sales expert in his own right. He is in the top 1 percentile in his industry and can regularly be found among the top producing agents in the country for companies such as Aetna and Foresters. Justin enjoys serving in his local church, playing the drums, cooking, boating, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and most importantly, spending quality time with his friends and family. He resides in Georgia with his beautiful wife and their 3 amazing children. You can see why I absolutely had to have him on the show. Justin, are you on?
I'm on, Nikki. It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
Doing great. Just been out here seeing a few clients today and getting a few things done and rushed back into the office so we could be on your show. So we're excited.
Well, I'm glad to have you guys on. It's such a privilege to have you on. Justin is an amazing entrepreneur, and we're gonna dive right in and get all the information and everything we can with the short amount of time that we have him on the show today. So, Justin, first and foremost, tell the listeners about your background and how you became the person that you are today.
Well, just kind of quick, not kind of brush over it real quickly, but I grew up in a pastor's home. Very great family life. Came up, it would be the equivalent of what you'd call kind of the white picket fence growing up. Everything had a great family life, siblings all around, parents very involved in ministry. My dad was an evangelist for many years and then founded a church and became a pastor. And so I grew up as a musician in the church, and music was pretty much my first love. Played drums, and all I wanted to do growing up was really become a professional musician in the contemporary Christian music industry, and got to do that at an early age, and actually went out, moved to Nashville, went on the road full time at about the age of 15, homeschooled through my last few years of school so that I could travel and tour, and got to work with several major Christian artists and several artists in the country music industry as well. So I did that up until about 21. At that time, my dad's church was growing to the point that he was really adding more staff and needed an administrator. And so I was really at that time just felt like that's what I was supposed to do. And so I moved back, came back to Georgia, and went on staff full time with my dad, and worked from an administrator basically into becoming executive pastor and CFO for that church. And of course, at its height, we had a full Christian school, Bible college, television, radio ministry. And so I did that for about the first, I'd say, 10 years of what would be considered my adult working life. And during that time, probably the last half of that 10 years, got very involved in business. I come from an entrepreneurial family. My uncle, my grandfather, several people owned very successful companies in the financial industry. And so I'd always come up around that and been inspired by that. My dad was a great businessman as well. He wasn't just your normal pastor. He was always very involved in the entrepreneurial side of things as well. And so got involved in real estate and had 3 different LLCs that worked in real estate development there for a good 5 or 6 years. And so then the 2008 hit, things kind of got bad financially there. We went through a very difficult time, and due to the real estate market changing. And so kind of had to regroup past that point. I actually went through a divorce and a bankruptcy, and a lot of stuff that was not fun. Went through a time there, but after about 2 years, got involved in the industry I'm in now, which is financial services, basically for the senior market, and it's been very good to us, and God's brought us a long way, and maintained us, and then been able to overcome a lot of things in life that sometimes takes a lot of people along. Maybe be 50, 60 years old and not maybe been through some of the wars, so to speak, that I've been through at an early age, and kind of went through it all at once. But anyway, come through it, and more than a conqueror. And so we're just staying persistent and consistent. And, God's blessed me with a beautiful wife and 3 children. And we're doing phenomenal things and looking for even greater. So in a nutshell, very compressed nutshell, that's kind of my story of how I've ended up where I'm at.
Wonderful. What I love about talking with you, Justin, is just your transparency and your humbleness, and you definitely have what it takes to get on everybody's level and be eye to eye with people. And I just feel like through the hardships that we go through, it creates the incredible, impeccable people that we become. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of draws my brain back. No rock ends up completely smooth like the pebbles that we find, in the middle of a creek bed somewhere in an old mountain creek that's been there forever. But it's the persistent life, the water of life, the things that we go through, the things that we experience that begin to really kind of shape and mold us into who we are. And a lot of times, a lot of the warfare and a lot of the difficulty in life, obviously, we make choices, we bring those on ourselves. But if we'll submit to that process and grow from it and learn, and you're going to fail. But the people that are most successful in life, the only reason they're that successful is because they failed more times than you have. If you want to double your success rate, you have to double your failure rate, and you're going to make some mistakes along the way. You're going to go through some hardships. Some things you may fall victim to. Some things you may bring on yourself. God knows I've brought quite a few wars on myself over the years. Things that I could have went about a different way. But as long as you learn from it and you grow from it and you take a step back and you move and you press forward and you don't quit, you never really fail. And those rough edges and those things that are maybe not the best attributes of our character and the quality of our life, if we'll just allow the process of life to knock those rough edges off of us, we'll begin to see a lot of things really begin to smooth out in our life.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that's key for anybody that's tuning into the show to understand that the people that you see that are so successful and just really thriving, it's 9 times out of 10, they've been knocked down and just had the ability to continue to get back up. And it's just a testament of being resilient to what's going on around you and never quitting. Justin, let's jump on and move forward. And would you do us a favor and inform the listeners on what it is that you do to impact the world around you in a positive way.
Well, primarily, my primary company and what I do, of course, in the senior benefit business, and that's Paramount Benefits Group. We're in the financial services industry, primarily, life insurance, Medicare supplements, and things for the senior market. So one of the biggest ways day in and day out that myself and colleagues, business partners, and employees in our company, what we do is really bring a level of security and understanding and peace to 65 and older, to our seniors in this country. And so, we've got agents here in the Southeast and now growing all over the country. And so we're able to go in on a day-to-day basis and take a 65 or 70 or 75-year-old individual that in a lot of cases are sitting there and trying to decide, how they're going to pay for medicine or if they're going to buy groceries that month. So many are sitting there on a fixed income of just Social Security, very little security, don't know a lot of times how they're going to make it from day to day. And we provide financial solutions and are able in a lot of cases to save them money and provide them benefits a lot of times that pays off existing debt, and just an absolute slew of things there that we do to be able to help that market. But on a day-to-day basis, that's what we do. And then, of course, through my Ziegler certification and speaking and writing and the things we do, just trying to motivate people, business professionals, young and old, to stay out there, to be persistent, to keep hustling, to make it happen, and don't give up, And don't be afraid to get out and try new things. And that's what I love to do when I'm speaking and trying to help motivate people or doing sales training. Is just, I love to communicate the fact that, listen, if you'll just show up and take action, you're already in the top 20% of people in this country, because over 80% of people never take action. They never do anything. They remain stagnant, And listen, you may fail, you may fall flat on your face, but just keep going, keep pressing, keep moving forward. And you'll experience phenomenal results in life. And so, through the whole motivational speaking side and the writing, that's what we try to communicate to people, is just to take massive action in life. Don't be one of the people that, goes to the grave with a book in you or an album in you, or, whatever your thing may be. It's been said that the graveyard has more unused and wasted potential and talent than any other place in the world, and I truly believe that. And we need to make sure that all that's been placed in us, that we're taking that and we're sending it out to the world, and that we're being an example, and we're just doing the stuff, man. We're accomplishing what we was put on the earth to do, because I don't know about you, but I want to die empty. I don't want to die full. I don't want to die with something inside of me that would have changed somebody else's life while they're living today.
Wow. I absolutely love that perspective, and I love what you had to say there. Justin, the reason that I started this show is because as motivational speakers and people that just devote their life to helping other people, you got to keep your own tank full. And so we created this show so that we could rebuild and help keep everybody fueled up that are those motivational speakers. And to be honest, I'm so humbled to have you on my show, because I love the way that you look at things and your perspective about things, and it just gives me that positive nudge to keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully, all the listeners that tune into the show as well. If you're just tuning in to Ivy Innovation Radio, we are just about to take a short break. Today we've got Justin Young on the show, and we're so super excited to have him. And we want you to stay with us, because when we come back, we're going to talk to someone that posted a chat on the website and asking Justin some questions. So stay tuned with us, and when we get back from commercial break, we're going to jump on that question.
Dreams, I know exactly how you feel, and I want to let you know that now that I am free, I want to dedicate my life to sharing my message with as many people as possible.
Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Take it higher, y'all. Nothing can hold you back. Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher.
Look, I went through hell, and behind every smile.
Thank you for tuning into Ivy Innovation Radio. Motivate, inspire, and empower. If you're just now tuning in with us, we are talking to Justin Young. Justin has just gone through several things with us. He told us about his history and how he got started in his businesses and how he became the person that he is today. He also has talked to us about how he impacts the world in a positive direction. And now we're going to go straight to the chat room. We have a question from Robbie Hilton, and Robbie wants to know, how do you stay motivated throughout the day to keep you going regardless of the negativity you may face on a daily basis? What a great question, Robbie. Justin, you ready to answer that?
Absolutely. And first, Robbie's probably listening. Robbie's actually one of our top producers, so we're glad he's tuning in and listening to us. So, I know that guy. But no, I mean, throughout the day, what we do is just, one of the most effective things I have found is just first and foremost starting your day off right. Planning, making sure that you're up in time, that it's not last minute, that you're not jumping up out of bed with that, Macaulay Culkin grabbing your face and screaming, "Oh my gosh, I'm late. The kids are going to be late. No one's had breakfast. My clothes aren't ironed. I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing." It's like Zig said, in order to win, you're going to have to plan and prepare to win, and then only then can you expect to win. And so we've got to plan. We've got to prepare. We need to, before we go to bed at night, know what's going on the next day down to, our car needs to be filled up with gas, and our clothes need to be laid out and ironed, and our breakfast needs to be laid out, and we know what we're doing, and we need to make sure that we're getting up in time to do those things and to have those first few moments. I've got a video out on my YouTube channel where I talk about, the first 30-minute rule of the day and how you should lay out those first 30 minutes to really make sure the foundation's right, because foundation is so important. And then above and beyond that, just making sure that you're feeding yourself the right material, if you're taking a lot of junk in life, whether that's through negative media or watching too much news or too much, trash reality television or whatever it is, things that are not building you up and not inspiring you, you need to replace a lot of that time, with really, like Zig Ziglar called it, Automobile University. When you're in your car, make sure you've got some audiobooks. Make sure you've got some positive things. Make sure you're listening to the Les Browns and the Zig Ziglars, or maybe a pastor or a preacher that's inspirational to you, or the Grant Cardones, or just whatever it is. But make sure that you're taking time to really put positive motivational material inside of you, because in our industry, basically being highly sales-based, it's so important, because if you're not self-motivated and you don't really have positivity being channeled and blasted through your system the whole time, it can be difficult sometimes. So I encourage everyone, make sure you're reading positive materials, things, personal growth, things that's going to help you grow, and make sure the audio in your vehicle is something that's going to really help you grow and challenge you and motivate you to stay out there throughout the day. And, that's positive. And then, lastly would be relationships. Nothing replaces an actual positive relationship, somebody that can help hold you accountable, somebody that can call and be there and say, "Hey, man, how are you doing? If you're in sales, how's your production? Tell me about this, tell me about that. Let me give you my perspective on it." Someone that you can speak with, and so that's so important. It's so foundational, but, start your day off right. Make sure you're feeding yourself with positive material throughout the day, and make sure you're surrounded with positive relationships. Cut out the drama. And make sure that you've got those positive relationships, someone you can actually touch and get a hold of and speak to and hear their voice, whether that's your wife, your husband, your boss, a good close friend, accountability partner. But have those solid relationships around you, because at any given time, anyhow, you're going to be like the top 5 people that you hang out with.
And also tune into Ivy Innovation Radio every week.
There you go. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Justin, tell us 3 people who've inspired you, and then tell us why.
The first one I'd have to say would be my dad, Dale Young, and I talked a little bit about him earlier. But, growing up in ministry, you get to see a whole lot, and you get to really learn a lot about people and kind of how people operate and the psyche of people really quick. because with the ministry, you're dealing with people so much. And of course, in life, everything is about people. But as a little kid growing up in a pastor's home, it really gave me a window and a perspective into a lot of things earlier on that a lot of kids may not see until later on in life. You know, it's no coincidence that there's a joke that preachers' kids, or what they call PKs, are always the worst ones. You know, they're the ones that leave the earliest to go sow their wild oats and act the craziest, and you know, just kind of go nuts or whatever. But really, while there's some joking to that, you know, there's always a dab of truth in jest as well. And the truth of the matter is that so many of those kids, they get to see so much about how people can do, you know, how bad they can be in certain cases, and how negatively that impacts their parents as pastors in the home. And so, you know, a lot of those kids, they see so much, and if not really, don't have a real strong relationship with close mentors and people around them, and of course God to help them, they can really end up in a position where they do kind of go off and go astray earlier. So based on that, I got to see my dad handle so many things in life, and I've got to see his character and his integrity rise above time and time again through hurts, through disappointments, through difficulties. And I've just, you know, he's always been a constant. He's always remained. He's been a person I've watched people try to buy him, and he can't be bought. You know, he's a person that, when it even cost him relationships with his own family in certain times, in certain cases, I've seen him always stick to character, stick to integrity, stick to truth, and do the right thing. And so many times, in so many cases nowadays, people just do not do the right thing anymore. They do what's expedient. They do what's easy. They do what will make their life better. And so I really, in my dad, have got to see that. And, you know, just the business person that I am today, and the management skills that I have, the administrative skills that I have, so much of that came from him. He was chief of the emergency medical services here in Tift County in Georgia for so many years before he began to run a successful ministry as a full-time pastor. And so much of what I am, you know, a good 99% of that is definitely from him. I would say, as far as a second person, Zig Ziglar absolutely inspired me from a young age. You know, I grew up around my uncle and my grandfather and people in sales. I remember being a little guy and having to kick, you know, cassette tapes and cassette series back when we still had those out of the seat to get in the vehicle and riding with them and hearing Zig's voice, and being a little guy, not really, you know, or younger guy, I should say, and not maybe fully understanding who Zig was or what that was, but, you know, just had one of those voices that would captivate you. And then as I got a little older and kind of got interested in business in my late teens and got the privilege to meet Zig on 2 different occasions, then that really kind of went full circle, made a connection for me, and I started kind of digging back in there in my late teens and really trying to get to know who this man Zig Ziglar was, and why there was such a captivating presence and such a draw just to his voice and to hear what he had to say. So, you know, Zig would definitely be an inspiration. If I had to pick a third person, that would probably, you know, and of course there's more than 3, but if I could kind of just do a hybrid on that, would probably be an uncle of mine by the name of Danny Young, and my grandfather, Paul Young. And they were really successful in business and what they done in life, and I was always inspired by that. You know, they always had nice things, seemed to have an overflow of abundance in their life, and that really inspired me. You know, from an early age, I wanted to be successful. I didn't want to be the person that struggled. I didn't want to barely creep along and make it. You know, there was just something inside of me that knew, hey, greatness is in me, greatness is on me. You know, I've got a call of God on my life. I know I'm supposed to do great things and touch people, you know, and there's been seasons I've questioned it in life, but, you know, you always go back to the call is irrevocable, and what's on your life is there. And sometimes we try to run from it and hide from it and simply can't. But if I was going to pick a third person, you know, a lot of the drive and, you know, one of the first times that ever, as far as a really business concept approached me, my uncle had approached me about, you know, helping me get involved with him in some real estate business. And I remember the day he slid an $8,000 check at 21 years of age, I believe, across the desk to me. and I remember I was going to the beach the next day, and I went and sat on the balcony at the beach and felt like I was rich, because I had $8,000 sitting in a savings account. But I took that. I didn't eat my seed, and I began to do other things in business with it and buy some real estate and do some things and just grow it, and it multiplied. And so that, so much in business as far as just the drive to be successful came from watching my uncle and my grandfather. So that would kind of constitute as my third person, I guess.
I'll absolutely love it. To hear who has impacted your life and 3 people that have inspired you. If you're a smidgen of those guys, then they set the bar really high, because you're an amazing person, Justin. And I haven't had too many opportunities to be around you, but every time I am around you, definitely impact everyone that's any type of radius around you. You have such a genuine heart and such a passion for helping other people. It's just inspiring. And that's why I wanted you to be on this show. Guys, we're talking to Justin Young here on Ivy Innovation Radio, and we're going to have to take a short break. But whenever we come back, we want you to stay tuned with us, because when we come back, we're going to talk to Justin, and he's going to give us, give everybody some tips and key points that they can take away from the show to implement in their own lives, and you don't want to miss it. You're listening to Ivy Innovation Radio. Motivate, inspire, and empower. We'll see you after this break.
Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back. Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back.
Before experiencing heaven, look, I went through hell, and behind every
Thank you for tuning in to Ivy Innovation Radio. Motivate, inspire, and empower. If you're just now tuning in with us, we are talking to the very wonderful Justin Young. He has given us such an amazing interview so far. He's told us about his background and how he's become the person that he is today. He's told us how he's positively impacted the world around him. He's given us 3 people that have inspired him and told us why. And now he's going to tell us some wonderful tips that we can take away from the show that we can implement in our own lives. Justin, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here, ready to go.
Okay, well, let's just jump right back in here and give the listeners some tips or key points that we can take away from the show, either to motivate us, to inspire us, or to empower us to live our best lives.
Well, Nikki, one of the things that I have a big heart and a passion for, and one thing we try to do in recruiting and even facilitating agents and employees into our company, is just to help people understand that you are more than you've become. You are so much more. There's so much more that lies in you, so much that's untapped. I truly believe that greatness lies in each and every one of us. That in some cases, some of us have just grown up, maybe around more supportive family members, or maybe more of a conducive environment to really help nurture those seeds of greatness and those things in us to really help them come forth better. While in a lot of cases, some other folks may have grew up in an environment where nobody really spoke to their potential. Maybe they never really spoke to what was inside of them. And I talk about excellence a lot. Excellence Effect is the chapters in several of the books that I've been published in, and then of course my first book, once it's finally complete, Lord willing, will be this year. Mm-hmm. But we've been taking so many breaks to get chapters in several other books that we felt would be beneficial, that we've kind of put the whole book of Excellence Effect on the back burner, but that's going to be coming out real soon. But our core message is the fact that excellence honors God and it inspires people. And I believe that when you do the very best with what you've been given, that's going to draw key relationships to your life, and people that'll say, hey, I know how to help you do this. I may not have the whole picture figured out of what you're trying to do, but I'm great with this area. I always go back to an actual story out of the Bible, and in that particular story, Moses come back off the mountain, had the whole concept and idea of how they were going to build the temple and what they were going to do, and there was things, but when he stood up and spoke the vision and said, this is what I believe God has shown me, this is what I'm going to do in life, and this is where I'm going. There was a man by the name of Bezalel that was standing out there, and when Moses described that candlestick, Bezalel spoke out and said, I know how to build that. I work with gold. I work with jewelry. I know how to make that happen. So he may not have known how to build and construct the whole tabernacle or temple, but he knew how to do one specific key area. And I use that example, whether you're a believer or a Christian or whatever your religious background is, that story holds true that when you stand up, when you write the vision, make it plain so that people can run to it. When you begin to speak positive things and you begin to speak out what it is in your life, even if it sounds ridiculous. I've been mocked and ridiculed my whole life for me saying, and speaking out things that I wanted to live and I wanted to be and I wanted to have before I even had it, before I even had a clear path and knew how to get to it. But I would always speak those things because I believe when you speak those things and you speak positive and you speak in faith, it attracts those things to your life. You can't reroute the laws of the universe, and that stuff works. And today I'm living things that 5 and 10 years ago I spoke out of my mouth that people would mock and laugh me about. And now today, guess what? I got higher goals. I've got greater goals. But I believe, like Zig said, we were designed for accomplishment, engineered for achievement and success, and those things are inside of us. And so I believe when you begin to speak those positive things and you begin to declare those things and you just do the very best you have with what you've been given, it's going to attract key relationships to your life. And those people are going to help you, and then the synergistic effect begins to come into place. And you ever wonder why successful people seem to hang with other successful people, and the more successful they become, the more successful people hang around them? Well, that's because, listen, those people weren't always at that level, but they were doing the very best they had with what they've been given. I hear people all the time that, couples and people I talk to or maybe counsel and mentor and coach, and they'll say, I want a new house. I want a new house. I'm living in what I consider to be subpar conditions now, and I'll go right by their house and the grass is knee high,
Right.
And there's junk and trash in the front yard. Well, listen, if you want a new house, how about taking care of the one you got first? You know what I'm saying? If you want a baby, you build the nursery and you have a crib and you've got somewhere to put it. In other words, you got to build a place for the provision. I tell a story, Ziegler's got last I looked at was 40 or 50,000 shares, where I was at Ziegler and I gave a little speech and talked about, growing up and how bad I wanted a horse. But before we ever had a horse, we looked ridiculous to the neighbors. We couldn't even afford a horse. We could barely spell horse. But we went out and we built a barn and a pen and had a place to put it. And we'd stand out there and pretend like we had a horse. And I'd had somebody give me a saddle and I'd strap the saddle to the fence and ride my imaginary horse, And I looked ridiculous and I looked foolish, but it wasn't very long after that I was riding a real horse. But the only reason I got that horse, Nikki, and I'm convinced, is that we took steps, we moved out in faith, and we created a place for the provision to come. And you're going to look ridiculous to people when you step out and you begin to do things that look unconventional. They're going to say you've lost your mind. It looks crazy. That's too big of a dream. It's too big of a goal. You're never going to accomplish it. Just stay safe. Be mediocre like me. Because, people love you as long as you're just dredged in mediocrity.
Absolutely.
They love you then. But, anytime you begin to step out and move forward and progress, then it highlights the fact that they're still stuck where they're at. And you're going to catch some stones and heat. But I'm convinced that when you begin to take those drastic steps, and you begin to move out and create a place for that prosperity and that provision to come, then it's going to attract and it's going to come to you every time.
I could not agree with you anymore. And I love how you're talking about building and, a place for your horse that you didn't even have. And I couldn't agree with you anymore. I mean, it's obvious, that I share a lot of the same thoughts and visions that you do, and it's just a breath of fresh air. I'm telling you, this interview is amazing. Justin, everybody that's listening to this right now, or that's going to listen to this when we get it on iTunes, will absolutely be motivated, inspired, and empowered by the words that you're sharing with us. And that is probably one of the most important things that I've heard, is to get ready and to prepare for it and know that you already have it and that it's coming your way. But just like you said, if you have a house, you know, and you're wishing for another house, how about taking care of the one you've got now? And
Absolutely.
just being grateful for the stuff that you have, and just preparing yourself for bigger success, and being in a
Absolutely.
position to where when you do continue to work hard, that you're able to receive that success whenever it comes your way. I'm just completely blessed to have you on the show. Guys, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Justin Young, and he's just given us all kinds of good advice and key points and things to just help us continue to stay motivated. We're going to have to take a short break, but whenever we come back, we're going to talk to Justin about where his brand is heading, projects that he's working on. Like he, you know, has already got so many things accomplished and things, but just like he just stated, he's got a whole new set of goals that he's going to speak out about in just a little bit. And hopefully get some laughs over, because if people aren't laughing whenever you tell them your vision and where you're heading, you're probably not really envisioning or setting high enough goals. Is that right, Justin?
That's absolutely. Make them laugh at you.
Make them laugh at you, and then you know, do what Justin Young does and show them what you were talking about years ago. So you don't want to miss this. You want to stay tuned. You want to hang in here with us. So when we come back, we're going to hear some of those things that he's working on moving forward. You're listening to Ivy Innovation Radio. Motivate, inspire, and empower.
And I want to let you know that now that I am free, I want to dedicate my life to sharing my message with as many people as possible.
Never let it go, let it leave.
Never.
Living a dream that's hard to reach. Got higher. Nothing can hold you back. Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back.
Before experiencing heaven, look, I went through hell. And behind every smile, there's a story to tell. Digging deep for my dreams, my fiance had to leave me. Both with a broken heart and broken goals. Work took a toll on my body, man, I was stressing, embellishing my love. She embezzled my investments, took the funds out my credit to leverage her addiction. A description of my pain, I paint the picture on a mirror. We attract who we are. I was wounded and scarred with the mindset that I had. Look, I wouldn't get far, so I gave up, man. I had to go higher. Who would've known my whole life would shift cause of a flyer? Tired of being tired of being sad. Wired as a human being, feeling so trapped. So I had to cut the rope, all in with my focus. Living out of my car, homeless, singing songs for the hopeless.
Never
I'm
let it
open.
go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back. Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back.
I admit, life hasn't always been so easy, but the lessons that I've learned has blessed.
Thank you for tuning in to Ivy Innovation Radio. Motivate, inspire, and empower. If you're just now tuning in with us, we're talking to the very wonderful Justin Young. And before, Justin was telling us all kinds of stuff about his background, what he does to positively impact the world, key points, things that he's done with his vision. And now we're going to talk to him about where his brand is heading, projects that he's working on, and everything that he's going and has accomplishing in his life right now. Justin, are you with us?
I'm with you.
We're having some technical difficulties, but I think we're moving forward here. So let's just jump right into it, Justin. Just tell us where your brand is heading. Before the break, we were talking to Justin about how he had envisions of what his life was supposed to be, and he would speak out to people and tell them what his life was going to entail, and people would laugh at him. And now he's going to tell us where he's headed in the next 5 to 10 years. Justin?
Well, having goals and setting goals is so important. And, and just this year, the first book of the year that I started off with was a book by Grant Cardone called 10X. And the whole book is on goals. And, I would highly encourage anybody and everybody to go out and get that book and read it. You can get on audio, and I've got it on audio now. And matter of fact, I was listening to it earlier today. I've been through it about 4 times. But the whole point of that book is, whatever your goal is, take that goal and multiply it times 10 to the point that it hurts your brain to think about it, And in life, I think it was Vince Lombardi too, there was a quote, that said, if you'll shoot for perfection, at the very least, you'll hit excellence. And, don't be scared to set those goals high and dream big and put it out there and speak it out. And listen, if you're not doing anything big enough that people aren't laughing at you and you're not catching some stones from haters, then you're not doing anything, baby. I mean, you're not doing nothing. If you don't have people that's attacking you or coming at you for no reason, or seemingly no reason, then you're not doing anything. But people get mad, they hate it when you begin to step out and take massive action. And when that persistent consistency begins to work in your life, folks are going to come out against it. That's what we were talking about earlier. But personally, for 2016, one of the, main things that we're working on is with Paramount Benefits Group, with our company. And basically with us, while we help the senior market, we're also in a whole other business, and that's the dream business. That's in the success business. And that's in taking young and old guys, maybe people that have been in another career field and didn't realize there was more in life, or guys like, Robbie Hilton called in just earlier. I'll use him for a minute. And, or actually had put a question in, I guess, on your Facebook or website there. And so, Robbie Hilton's a prime example. He's a young guy that, was making around $30,000 a year, worked 2 jobs, worked in a bank and then stocked grocery store shelves at night. And, everybody told him he was crazy for going to a sales-based job and stay with what's safe, stay with what's predictable, benefits, dental and all that stuff that kind of middle-class world preaches, and staying safe and to really just keep you locked in. And so he made the decision to jump and to go. And first year in our company made around $140,000, year one. Wow. And that bank called him back and offered him $40,000 the next year to come back, and he laughed at him and said, "Well, I just made $140. I don't think I'll be coming back." Boy makes so much money that his CPA fired him this year because the CPA got ticked off because Robbie makes more money than him, and he told Robbie there was no way selling insurance products that he could be making more money than him. And he said, "I'm not going to be your CPA no more." So I'll just pause there and tell everybody listening, make your goal to make so much money that your doggone CPA fires you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're doing something when your certified public accountant don't want to work for you no more. So,
right.
But our goal this year is to take guys like Robbie. And so we're going out. We've got a whole trade show set up, and we're going to colleges and universities all over the Southeast this year, and really, putting a hook in people's jaw, people that have a desire, that want more in life, that want financial freedom. And we're going, and our job and our mission is to help revolutionize those guys' lives this year and recruit them and get them part of a winning team and a successful team. And so, on the business front, that's what we're doing. And then, of course, our other big goal for this year is just to really focus on getting my first whole debut book out, Excellence Effect, and getting that on the shelf. So as far as immediate goals, those are the two that's right in front of me. And, we're just pressing and going at it hard and just taking massive action. So that's kind of where we're at. And the key projects that we're in the middle of right now is that university and college tour, as well as trying to complete the book. So
I love it. And, guys, you've got to find Justin Young on social media. He has the best posters, the best things to keep you motivated and keep you energized. One of my favorite things that he posted not too long ago was talking just about what you were talking about with the guy that chatted in with us, Robbie, and it said something along the lines of, you'll have benefits, you'll have this, that, and the other, and it said, don't drink the Kool-Aid. And it's just, every one of his posts are entertaining, but at the same time, they get you really thinking about a life that you are absolutely able to have if you just take the leap of faith, like the young man that he was just talking about. Hey, Justin, why don't you tell us some of your hopes that you see in the world around you in the coming years?
Well, one of the biggest hopes I would have is to see more people realize their potential. And again, kind of going back to one of my key messages or signature messages, and that is just, take a step back and understand that you're not a victim of, circumstance, and that, listen, you can change it. You have the remote to your life. If you don't like the channel it's on, if you don't like what you're seeing around you, if you don't like it, then get up, grab the remote, take action, and change it. And so what I'd like to see, and through the Excellence Effect Network and through what we're doing, trying to reach out to other business professionals, is just, encourage people. Your life is more than it's become. So much of what the world pumps and pushes on us in the system is, stay safe, get the safe job, have the 2.3 kids, save, have a safe IRA, retire, and you go down that list, and then, retire, get you a mobile home, travel the world, whatever it is. Everybody's got their little succession of what they think life should be. But my question is always, when they get done with each thing, is, well, now what? Well, then what? Well, what's it going to be after that? And what I want to help do, and what I want to see and continue to develop in the world, is people that realize that there's more to life, that, you were put here to prosper, to live a hope-filled life, and that you've got a future, you have a declared end. You're not just randomly walking around. And get around people. If you're not around somebody whose vision's bigger than yours, or that it makes you a little nervous to be around them because maybe they're so successful or they're so wealthy, then your circle's too small. You need to be hanging around and surround yourself with people that at the very least are on the same path in life you're on, but more importantly are where you already want to be. Folks that can speak truth into your life, that can correct you when you need correcting, and can be there to help guide you on. So one of my greatest hopes would be to see people really begin to step out, quit drinking the Kool-Aid, like you said earlier, that, that the educational system that so many people put on you, that, stay safe, be predictable, keep it safe. No, you need to go out and take massive action. You need to do something. You need to rock a boat. You need to fall flat on your face one good time and bust your nose until it's bleeding, and then get back up and say, give me some more, and run another 100 yards forward until you do it again. But just do something. So many people live their whole life and they don't do anything. And these people, you hear them, they complain, they gripe about their job, they gripe about their life. But then a lot of times when you mention, well, jumping, what's the thing that you're passionate about? Well, if you could do anything in the world, what would it be? And a lot of times you'll just see them cower back, but I couldn't do that. And they have their reasons, And that's one of what I feel like one of my life's passions and goals is to just really help pull those people up, Be a little tender at first, but then, give them a kick when they need a kick to, and say, man, get out there. Life's moving. Things are happening. And grab it by the reins, and let's make something happen. And we help people do that, at my company at Paramount Benefits Group, and of course motivate them through the Excellence Effect. And we do that every day, and we see people's lives change, and not just financially, but, it's amazing. Zig said, people would always bring that point up to him about money. Well, money's not the most important thing. Of course, he would always, the classic saying is, well, it's right there second to oxygen. And that is the absolute truth. And whenever you can begin to walk in financial freedom, and you have choices, because that financial freedom gives you choices in life to be able to pursue your dreams and make decisions, and you're not bound anymore. And that's what we want to help people do, is get unbound. And so the greatest thing that I want to see out of people is to really expand their thinking, take a step back, and really begin to move out of mediocrity and move into massive action, and begin to move towards success and significance. And we all know, if you'll just work at being significant, make sure you're living a life of significance. That significance breeds success, and success is just a byproduct of that. It'll come automatically.
Wow. I'm blown away over here. Speaking of being around people and influential people and successful people, when we come back after this short break, we're going to talk with Justin about our Ziegler family, and we're going to jump right into some things that we've been able to be involved with. So you want to stay tuned for that. You're listening to Ivy Innovation Radio, sponsored by Ivy Innovation. We're going to take a quick commercial break and stay tuned, because next we're going to talk to Justin about the Ziegler life.
I want to dedicate my life to sharing my message with as many people as possible.
Never let it go, never let it leave.
Never.
Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher.
Take it higher, y'all.
Nothing can hold you back.
Nothing.
Never let it go, never let it leave.
Yeah.
Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back.
Before experiencing heaven, look, I went through hell. And behind every smile, there's a story to tell. Digging deep for my dreams, my fiance had to leave me. Both with a broken heart and broken goals. Work took a toll on my body, man. I was stressing, embellishing my love. She embezzled my investments, took the funds out my credit.
Thank you for tuning in to Ivy Innovation Radio. Motivate, inspire, empower. We have had a phenomenal interview with Justin Young today. He is one of my Ziegler brothers, and he's also a co-author with me in the book Ziegler Legacy, and I'm so excited to have had him on the show today. Justin, thank you so much for getting on here today. If you're just now tuning in, you want to make sure that you get with us later and download this on your podcast, on your iTunes, or whatever it is. Justin has given us all kinds of nuggets today, from his wonderful life to 30-minute rule of the first 30 minutes of the day and so on, his keys to success, people that have inspired him in his life. And we've run out of time with Justin. I wish we could do more sessions with him. We're going to have to definitely have him back on the show so we can continue talking to him. This guy is just an abundance of information and nuggets to help you keep going. So before we let you go for the day, Justin, why don't you just tell everybody how they can find you on social media, your website, and how they can get in contact with you after the show?
Sure. Well, the easiest thing to do would be just go to my website. That's jjustinyoung.com. Again, it's jjustinyoung.com all together. Just go to that website, and there'll be icons on my website that will direct connect you to my Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Pretty much everything's on there. I believe Periscope's on there now. We've got it all on there. So if you'll just go to my website, jjustinyoung.com, click on those icons. It's on the bottom of the home page. And please, you follow us. We try to do our best to keep you motivated throughout the day, normally 2 to 3 posts and things to really inspire you, make you think, and just prod you on to excellence. And so go to our website, click on it, and be sure to follow us, and we'd love to be a partner with you.
Wonderful. And Justin, this is your formal invitation to be a guest on this show again. I know the listeners are going to want you back as soon as possible. Okay, once again,
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to Ivy Innovation Radio, sponsored by Ivy Innovation. Motivate, inspire, and empower. Thank you for tuning in.
Nothing can hold you back. Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back.
Before experiencing heaven, look, I went through hell. And behind every smile, there's a story to tell. Digging deep for my dreams, my fiance had to leave me. Both with a broken heart and broken goals. Work took a toll on my body, man. I was stressing, embellishing my love. She embezzled my investments, took the funds out my credit to leverage her addiction. A description of my pain, I paint the picture on a mirror. We attract who we are. I was wounded and scarred with the mindset that I had. Look, I wouldn't get far, so I gave up. Man, I had to go higher. Who would've known my whole life would shift cause of a flyer? Tired of being tired, tired of being sad. Wired as a human being, feeling so trapped. So I had to cut the rope, all in with my focus. Living out of my car, homeless, singing songs for the hopeless. I'm
Never let it
open.
go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back. Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly
lessons that I've learned has blessed me with its teachings. Every morning I get up, give thanks for my freedom to creatively meditate and take what is needed. Long walks, I'm smiling for miles, I am enlightened. Feel the lightning deep inside, brainstorming, I'm in alignment. I was put on this earth to show the physical state, to embrace all your greatness, you're no longer a slave. Let's dance to the abundance, elevating the poor. Opportunity is knocking, simply open the door. As an entrepreneur, plugging up to the source, upgrading my network, baby, let me sharpen my sword. From Tony Robbins to Kanye, they feeling the vibe. Remove distraction, my attraction is captivating my tribe. Look, deep inside I know my purpose, I know my worth, baby, I'm telling you I deserve
Never let
this.
it go, never let it leave.
Yeah.
Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back. Never let it go, never let it leave. Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher. Nothing can hold you back.
You ready? My name's Rocco Steady, so I pop confetti and lift. Toast to my peaceful people who stay consistent. To the little voice inside, let's ride, you better listen. Hold your future in your hands, lay the bricks down for your children. Persistence in your dreams till they come to existence. Readjust perspective, put positions in a mission. Take a break, feel the ease, stay focused on your mission. Rediscovering your purpose, so now I feel the passion. The sound is in your why, they limit us to the sky. Your thoughts become things, there's the power in your mind. Hey, I feel that smile, hey, I feel the style. Look, you come a long way, don't be shy about your fly. Spread your wings, take a dive, feel the freedom in the islands. Taking pride up in my lifestyle, the wild and retired. A product of my environment, fire in my desire. As the ocean breeze hits, let's have a moment of silence for life, baby. Come on.
Living in a dream that's hard to reach. Gotta fly higher.
Spread your wings, man, it's freedom.
Nothing can hold you back.
Nothing.
Never let it go,
Never.
never let it leave.
Never.
Living in a dream that's hard to reach.
I know you got a
Gotta
dream.
fly
It's time to live it. Share your gifts.
higher. Nothing can hold you back.
Nothing.
Never let it go,
No.
never let it leave.
Never.
Living in a dream
Live
that's
it.
hard to reach.
Come on.
Gotta fly
Higher.
higher.
Let's take it higher, come on.
Nothing can hold you back.
Nothing.
Never let it go,
Never.
never let it leave.
Never.
Living in a dream
Come
that's
on.
hard to reach.
Yeah.
Gotta fly higher.
Let's take it up, y'all.
Nothing can hold you back.
Nothing. I believe in you.
Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Life Improvement Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, or editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the expressed written consent of Life Improvement Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.